Peace, 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 peace. Welcome to another episode of the Parry, where we don't pull or duck no punches, and the parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
And I am the pragmatic Jay Blidak.
Yo, pragmatic one, what's good with you, brother?
Same fight, different round, bro.
I hear you. I hear you, man. A lot of big news in boxing, man. Turki AlalShik. Your man, what you call him? What you call him?
Al Cool Shake. That's the homie. That's the homie Al Cool Shake right there.
He kind of shaking things up in boxing, man. But before we get to that, you got any boxing news you want to start us off with, or what? Or we can get right to it?
Well, I was gonna say we can get right into it today.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Well, first of all, the Zone, Riyadh Season, Matchroom, Golden Boy, everybody that's affiliated with my man Al Cool Shake, has been putting on some great cards with some great fights. This Virgil Ortiz, Bohachck fight, in my opinion, is probably one of the fights of the year. Definitely the fight of the year so far for me. Like round 1 through round 12, it was action packed. But you got some people that feel like, Bohachck should have won the fight. I thought it was close enough to go either way. I did have Virgil Ortiz winning by 1 point, but here's what's leading to some of the people's conspiracy theories about the fight. Because you know how boxing fans are, right? It's like, if your guy don't win, if there's a little room for some type of conspiracy theory as to why this fighter would have lost or the other fighter won, they're gonna pull out that string. But I wanted to play this video real quick. This happened right before the fight started. This is before the fighters made the entrance to the ring.
Made the big fights. Crawford. If Virgil wins, we make Crawford next.
Yes, I will give Crawford big offer to do this. And let's see. And not this only. We want to see Shakur and Zepeda.
Yes. William Zepeda versus Shakur Stevenson on the same card. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I mean, Turki AlalShik, man, she definitely shaking. He's shaking ish up in the sport of boxing right now. So
yeah, man.
You got people saying that this fight was already. This is the fight that they want. Big money fight, excuse me. Or some people perceive as a big money fight. Virgil Ortiz versus Terrence Crawford at 154. Unification bout now that he won the WBC. It's an interim title, but he won a WBC interim belt from Bohachck. And Terrence Crawford being, I believe, what is it? WBA?
It's the WBA and WBO unified champion.
Well, people saying that Virgil Ortiz got the nod because of them wanting to make this fight. I disagree, but what's your thoughts?
This is the type of fight that when it's all said and done, you wasn't expecting what you ended up getting. And you're not fulfilled when you see an outcome like that. When you see an outcome like that, and then it's not a fight you move on from. It's a fight that you have to come back to. And I believe that this fight should be a rematch. I don't think that the results was really conclusive. And I think that these two guys need to go in there and mix it up. And if I'm Ortiz, I'm definitely wanting to go in there and mix it up because that was a life or death struggle. And the most you could have given him was him winning by a point. And that's with very, very generous scoring, to be honest with you, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, the best that fight was could have been a draw, which is definitely either way you put it, an inconclusive turnout. Some even felt like he may have lost that fight. I don't think he actually. I think it was probably a draw, or he lost it by a point. But I definitely think that a draw would have been justice, and I think that a draw would have put it in a position where it's like, yo, you guys really know that there's unfinished business. You got to go back in there and do it again. And I think that these two guys need to go back in there and do just that. Personally, as far as going into a fight, getting a fight with Crawford, I don't see that being any money in that fight for anybody personally. I mean, it'll probably be some money in it for Ortiz, but I mean, looking at the numbers coming in from the last Crawford fight, I'm hearing reports that the numbers were actually disappointing. Crawford not really being marketable, which also, I guess, gave Canelo leverage to feel like he can talk a little bit of extra, pop some junk a little bit extra with as far as him being the A side and feeling like, it's all money for Crawford. Like, I'm the reason why Crawford wants this fight because he can get paid. He can't get paid fighting, you know. So I don't really think that this is a fight that I don't see Ortiz going on to do anything after a loss with that fight, or even without having that fight, that will make us in history say that he was one of the greats that Crawford defeated. So I don't think that there's a point in Crawford even facing him if Crawford is talking about his legacy and coming to the end of his career. He's in the twilight of his career. If he's really sincerely talking about, see, here we go, somebody lit up something. Somebody got some shit lit up. Now they,
Well, let me say, I'm gonna
but
get back because I'm glad you brought up Canelo, and I'm gonna get to. Hold on, I'm gonna mute you for 1 second, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to Canelo in a second because ever since we put out the clips from the James Toney interview that we did, shout out James Toney, man, to Lights Out, man. That was a great moment for me as a fight fan to interview one of my favorite fighters of all time. And the full video shall be up soon for everybody to consume and watch the whole interview. But we put up some clips, and Mexican fans didn't like some of the things that James Toney had to say. But I'm gonna get back to some of the debates that was happening in the comment section and a little later. But Virgil Ortiz and Terrence Crawford, is it a good fight? Yes. Would I want to see the fight? Yes. Is it a necessary fight? No. Uh, I do feel, if it all depends on what Bud is trying to do. If Bud is trying to become
a better
undisputed and
fight
clean
will
up,
be with Boots than if he's not gonna fight. If he's fighting people like Ortiz, and pardon me for I did kind of cut you off just now, so pardon me. But if he's gonna be fighting people like that, he should be fighting Boots then. If that's gonna
I
be the
mean,
case,
if we being honest, they need to fight each other.
I'm
Ortiz
not.
and Boots, that
That's
is.
but you understand what I'm saying though.
No, no, no. I get what you're saying,
If
but
he's
I
gonna
don't
be
think.
fighting the likes of people like Ortiz, why isn't he fighting the likes of a Ennis?
Well, here's my question to you because that's a good point. But why fight Boots over Virgil Ortiz?
You said
They
what?
kind of both. Why fight Boots over Virgil Ortiz? They kind of both on the same level. I would say, actually,
There's more money in a Boots fight than a Virgil Ortiz.
you really think
Let's be.
so?
There's
Oh, you froze, brother. Well, until he gets it together, let me just speak on. I don't think there's more money in a Boots fight per se than a Virgil Ortiz fight. We do know how the Mexican fans they come out and support their fighters. Um, and just for my opinion, a fight with a Mexican is always bigger, which is why Floyd Mayweather, and a lot of other fighters always went that route. As opposed to fighting a brother, they would go and fight a Mexican because that would kind of filled up the house. I mean, let's be honest, like the Latino fans are the ones who are spending their money to go out and watch a lot of these fights more so than anybody else, especially when it's one of their own stepping out there to fight. Um, so I don't think a Boots fight is more lucrative as far as money is concerned for Bud. I do think it's probably a more appealing fight in the sense of Boots' name is probably a little bit more buzzing right now to the hardcore fan more so than Virgil Ortiz. But they Virgil Ortiz and Boots, I kind of put them in the same category. Really good fighters on the come up. Virgil Ortiz, the difference between Virgil Ortiz and Boots is that Virgil Ortiz he won his belt from an actual champion or interim champion, but nonetheless a champion. Uh, and Boots got his by being being upgraded to a champion because the belt being vacated from Terrence Crawford. So, Boots not having fought any champions, and at least from what I can remember from Virgil Ortiz's resume, he did defeat one champion at the very least. So I would even put Virgil Ortiz a little ahead of Boots in that being in line to fight somebody like Bud Crawford. But nonetheless, but if me personally as a fight fan, if I had to pick between the two, who I want to see, I mean, I definitely want to see Boots and Bud get it on, just based off what my eyes was telling me about Boots. But I do think Virgil Ortiz is a hell of a fighter, man. I think he's a really good fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters on the come up. But he also moved up to 154, so he's fighting in the same division already as Bud, more so than Boots will have to move up a division. So I can't say that a fight with Boots would be more lucrative. But while I'm waiting on my brother Jay Black, let me just address some of the things that some of the people was getting at us about in the comment section. Some of the arguments that some people was making for Canelo, and they had an issue with some of the things that James Toney said. And we're just reporting what it what was said. We let the man talk, and we didn't necessarily. Shout out Baba Sekou. I see you in the chat, brother. Thank you for tuning in with us. We, he got on there. He said some things. He said Canelo. He thought Canelo was soft. He don't think Canelo could fight in his era, which that's his opinion. Which is why we asked the question because we want to hear his opinion. And a lot of what appears to be Mexican or Mexican supporters or Canelo fans, let's say, at the very least, wasn't too happy with some of the things that James Toney had to say, nor to my quick jab that I did about the whole war of words between Turki AlalShik and Canelo and Bud's response to the whole thing. So people's arguments is like, why does Canelo need to fight Terrence Crawford? Terrence Crawford just wants a payday. David Benavidez doesn't sell. He's not a big name. He doesn't sell any pay-per-views. And Ray. They give all these excuses as to why Canelo doesn't need to fight these guys. But yet, Berlanga, someone who hasn't beaten the champion at all, is getting a shot at Canelo, has never sold a pay-per-view. He gets a shot. Fighters like John Ryder. Jaime Munguia was probably an exception. That was a good fight, but wasn't nobody really calling for that fight either. But at least Jaime Munguia, I would say, just based off his resume, is somebody that was probably deserving of a fight with Canelo. That's just not the fight we wanted to see at the time. He's fought people like Amir Khan, Jamel Charlo, and these are not fights that we was calling for Jamel Charlo or one of the Charlo brothers to fight Canelo when he was down at 154 or 155 or Canelo weight. So Canelo, all the excuses that people give for Canelo not to fight these guys, but yet they don't even understand how they shoot themselves in the foot, because why doesn't that apply to Edgar Berlanga? No disrespect to Edgar Berlanga. I like Edgar Berlanga. I think he's a decent fighter. I just don't think he's deserving of this fight. He hasn't beaten anybody. He's not a champion. He hasn't beaten any champions, any former champions. And he hasn't really been looking good in his past few fights. But he gets a fight with Canelo and nobody questions it. But the whole world wants to see him in with David Benavidez. And hold on. Is my brother back yet? Nope, I thought he was. The whole world wants to see him in with David Benavidez and Nobody really cares about an Edgar Berlanga fight. But yet, when it comes to David Benavidez, he hasn't sold any pay per views. Ray. But they don't make the same. But the same doesn't apply to Edgar Berlanga. I just don't understand. Like I need some people to really clarify why is it that certain things, uh, certain things apply to certain fighters, but you ignore it when it comes to the other fighters or even the lesser competition that Canelo chooses to fight. I just think as boxing fans, we're doing a disservice to ourselves by not holding these fighters accountable when, when they say something. Now, if Canelo just came straight out and said, "Look, I don't want to fight him. I'm just looking to, make my own fights because I'm just not interested in that fight." Okay, fine. He's not interested in it because maybe he's scared. Maybe he just doesn't want to fight him for whatever reason. But the reasons that he gives, Crawford is too small. But yet Amir Khan wasn't. Jamel Charlo wasn't too small, but Terrence Crawford is too small. Like make that make sense. Like the reason that he's using it goes against everything, all the decisions that he's made prior. I'm not gonna fight David Benavidez, or you're a horrible fighter. Like who has he beat? Well, who has Edgar Berlanga beat? What about John Ryder? I keep bringing
Right.
up John Ryder because nobody wanted to see that, man. I'm just saying, like, who did these guys beat? Now I give Canelo all the credit. Let me just give him some credit for a lot of the great fighters that he has fought in his past. Like I'm not gonna take nothing away from him, but at the same time I'm not giving him credit, or should I say I'm gonna give him the criticism when it's deserved, because David Benavidez deserved that fight. Even David Morrell, I would like him to see. I would like him to fight, or Terrence Crawford. And the reasoning that he doesn't want to fight these guys doesn't apply to the guys that he's choosing to fight, and it's just a contradiction that people just choosing to ignore for one reason or the other. Um, yeah, and that's that, man. I think guys got at us real crazy in the chats
Yeah,
criticizing us.
that's better than that.
You know what I'm saying about our opinions of Canelo, about uh, James Tony's opinions of Canelo, and he don't need to fight this one. He don't need to fight that one, but he's
And
fighting Edgar Berlanga.
you were saying before about certain fighters and why certain things ignored with these fighters, and a lot of times it comes down to uh, money. The biggest politics in boxing is money. That's the politics, and a lot of times it comes down to having cash cows and not wanting those cash cows to either be exposed or feel like the risk reward isn't worth it, and so therefore it gets ignored. A lot of these fighters, they can. I don't personally think that it's a fear thing amongst fighters that they're scared of each other or they're scared of losing to a fighter. Sometimes they may in their heart know, this guy's gonna be a problem or whatever. However, I think that there's a lot more politics that plays, and a lot of it has to do with money, and it has to do with if you can make damn near that much money fighting somebody with no name, why take the risk? Roy Jones, who's retired now, he gets away with constantly talking about fighters fighting the best. However, he was actually accused for years of taking the easy route and fighting hand-picked opponents and hiding behind ridiculous mandatories, with a lucrative HBO contract guaranteeing him $2 million a fight. And for years, he was actually criticized for not fighting certain fighters who was around or in his division. One of them being Darius Mikuchevsky. So it's more politics than fear to me, but it's been going on forever.
So, I mean, I know this is not a Canelo show, but I just had to address some of the things that people were
Nah,
saying. Now,
but
this
they're
is Virgil.
talking about it. We just did the interview. We put the
Yeah,
clips out. The full interview is about to drop, and a lot of people are upset. Well, a lot of Canelo fans are upset, and that's okay. He said something that they didn't like about their man. That's cool. Now, and they getting on there to defend their guy. That's cool. That's fine with me. And they're showing, and a lot of them are showing their true colors. It's beyond just the sport. It's beyond just boxing. We
right,
had an episode about this, talking about the tribalism of boxing, and
right,
boxing, and how tribal it is. And this
right,
is just a perfect example that this is a tribe Not feeling they feeling like their tribe was disrespected, or one of the heroes, or somebody that they have a lot of an endearment, somebody that they endear highly. We disrespected, or James Toney disrespected, and we co-signed the disrespect somehow, and it's okay. This is what it's about.
This is exactly what it's about. This is exactly what it's about. But um, in regards to the Virgil Ortiz, now here's what I found interesting though, right? Because at 147, Virgil Ortiz, if I'm not mistaken, was Terrence Crawford's mandatory. Now I remember, y'all know you remember when after he had, I think it was one of his last fights he had at 147, and he kind of called out Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford was in the crowd, and Terrence Crawford was like, "I'll finish you, like I'll." And what some fighters speak with confidence, like, "Listen, we can get it on, whatever. Sign the contract, like I'm with it, like I'm with all the smoke."
Right.
Virgil Ortiz, he mentioned Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I would love that fight. Like kind of like after the end of this fight with Bohachck,
Mm-hmm.
they asked him, listen, yeah, Turki and Oscar agreed to a fight, to try to make a fight if he was victorious tonight between you and Terrence Crawford. Are you interested in that fight? He said, yeah. No, that's what did you hear about it? He's like, yeah, I heard about that. Like, do you want
Right.
that fight? Yeah. He's like, Terrence Crawford's one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, and I think I'm one of the best, and I would like that fight. Then he goes on to say, yeah, and next, you know what I mean? I want the winner of Errol Spence Fundora. Like the Terrence Crawford fight is right in front of you, but yet you want to wait for a fight for the results of a fight that's not even scheduled yet between Fundora and Errol Spence, which makes me feel like, and based off his last kind of weak call out of Terrence Crawford, it makes me feel like he really feels like he's not ready for him right now.
So he said that he wants to fight that fight before he fights.
Right at the end, I wish I had it. I wish I could pull it up.
But at the end,
Right at the end, first they asked him about Terrence Crawford. Yes, I'm interested in that fight. He says, I would love that fight, something to that effect. But then they was like, yeah. So he was like, then they asked him something about something pretty much to the effect of like, yeah. So, like what's next? Like something to that effect. And he was just like, yeah, you know, I want the winner of Fundora Spence. Da da da. But yet they just told you, you win tonight, you get Bud Crawford. But he wants to wait. He said next. I want the winner like next. But he didn't say he want Bud next. He said he wants that fight. See, you gotta listen to the semantics and how they play around with words. I want the fight. Yeah, I'm interested in that fight, of course. But then at the end of the interview, he's like, next, I want Fundora Spence, the winner of Fundora Spence. That's who he wants next. He don't want Bud next. I don't think he wants to fight Bud. I think he know.
if he's not calling out Bud next, he doesn't want to fight Bud. And that's clear. He has other plans. He doesn't want to fight Bud. Maybe he's waiting for Bud to retire or something. Maybe he sees something we don't. But if his next fight isn't a call out of Bud, he's not looking to fight Bud.
Let me just remind the viewers, jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, please lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. If you really rocks with us, please jab that like button for your brothers. We got Baba Sekou in the chat. He said Benavidez is too big and too strong. Morella's a lefty with power. Bud is too slick for Canelo to want to take the risk, even though he's a larger fighter. He knows he can't beat Bud, but he wants the payday. I mean, he gave all the excuses in the world, man. That's all I can say. He gave all the excuses in the world as to why he don't want to fight him. Then he wants, and here's the thing too. See, he doesn't demand that kind of money for, and especially when he's. I mean, I remember him saying David Benavidez is like he like pretty much like, who is this guy? He's a nobody. Like, he ain't really beat nobody. You know, he even said before he's a horrible fighter. He's not a good fighter. He can't say that about Bud. He always give Bud his respect, right? But
Right.
to fight David Benavidez, he wants $200 million. You want $200 million to fight a nobody. You want $150 million to fight a guy who's too small.
and you want 200 million to fight. Yeah, I mean, whatever his reason is, it's it's beyond just a regular boxing. There's a reason why. There's something going on over there. This is some Mexican business going on with these guys. You know.
Well, he always leans on, like, guys want a payday off of him. Oh, well, who don't?
Well, I
So does
mean,
so does so does Edgar
that's
Berlanga.
the art of the game. That's the art of the game. When you're the guy to beat, everybody's gunning for you. You know that. When you're the name, you're the guy everyone's gunning for. Everybody who's been at the top or who has been at that financial, has been that guy. Mike Tyson was that guy. Uh, Oscar De La Hoya was that guy. Floyd Mayweather was that guy. You know, it's like when you become that guy. Trinidad was that guy. It's like these there's paychecks involved with these fights, and these
Right.
paychecks are bigger than any other paycheck you've ever seen. Yeah, he's gonna walk away with 20 million, 30 million nowadays, 50, 60 million. But guess what? You're gonna walk away with 5 million, 2 or 3 million, and you've been making 60,000 after everything been said and done. You've been walking home with 60, 50,000 in your pocket.
Right.
Of course, it's gonna make sense.
Yeah, I've heard, like, Baba Seiko just said, you have to beat the man to beat a man, and that's
That's
facts. But here's the
that's
but here's the
how it
here's
used to
the
be.
hold on, right now, watch this though. And I did this is not my point. I heard this on another channel, and if I forget who it was, I would give credit if I can remember. I forget who said it, but this is the truth. Canelo is probably the only fighter that I can remember that got his spot, or went on his way to that spot from a loss. Still, his probably most famous fight is losing to Floyd Mayweather. Oh, you froze again. Baba Seiko, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Like, his most famous fight to date is probably losing to Floyd Mayweather. Uh, and it kind of put him on the map and set him on the road to be where he's at today. I mean, he did beat Miguel Cotto. I think he fought an older Shane Mosley, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, he's beat some great fighters. You know what I'm saying? Probably a little bit past their prime, but nonetheless, he fought Floyd when he was older. So I guess that's more a tribute to Floyd and his greatness, more so than the shortcomings of a fighter like Canelo. I mean, you just fought the best pound for pound fighter, one of the best pound for pound fighters to ever live. But he got bigger after a loss. I can't think of too many fighters, of any really, that after a loss they became a bigger star in the sport. And it's not even like, I mean, I do know, like, that I believe that fight was a split decision, which was one of the most craziest scorecards in the history of scorecards. Like, right, it lost him in the superstardom. Right, a loss. So for your legacy as a fighter, as a champion, as a Mexican fighter and a Mexican champion, um, you made all the money that, you made more money than, you know what I'm saying, than probably most Mexicans that ain't moving that product has ever made. And you, rather than fight for your legacy, like, you lost to Floyd, which is still the biggest fight of your career. A fight against David Benavidez is huge. That is a huge fight. That is a fight that is, for me as a fight fan. There's a few fights that, there's a lot of big fights. You got the Shakur Tank Shakur Tank fight is a big fight. Bud. I'm gonna say Bud Boots is on that level, but that's a fairly big fight. Bud, maybe even Bud Virgil Ortiz is a decent fight, but it's not huge. It's not a huge fight. It's not too many huge fights left on the docket, man. Um, David Benavidez versus Canelo is a huge fight. It's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing at this point. Like I said, only thing probably comparable will be Tank versus Shakur. And I would even think that's even like it's the closest, but I don't even think as far as magnitude of it, I don't think it's the same. That's the biggest fight in the sport. Why wouldn't you take that fight? Oh, he hasn't fought anybody, so I'm gonna go ahead and fight Edgar Berlanga. I'm gonna go ahead and fight I'm gonna go ahead and fight uh whoever. Like he's fighting like Jaime Munguia. Like, and at the same time, I represent Mexico. I don't want to fight another Mexican, but you go fight another Mexican. Like, he always contradicts himself. So the only way you can look at it is that, what they say, if it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like one, it's a duck. Canelo's ducking these guys. He's ducking David Benavidez for sure. I want 200 million. Remember, he's white, not La Raza. Yo, listen, man. I don't know what it is, man. I just know that all the excuses that people leaving in the comment sections as in regards to Canelo and why he don't need to fight this one or that one, and justifying the moves that he's making, and just the math ain't mathing, as they say, as the youngsters be saying nowadays. The math ain't mathing. It's just not adding up, because some of the excuses that you making for not fighting whoever is the same reason why you shouldn't be fighting these other guys. Like, who's Edgar Berlanga? No disrespect to Edgar Berlanga. He's from my hometown. He's from my home city. He's from Brooklyn, man. I respect him. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with a bunch of Puerto Ricans, man. So shout out to my Boricuas. You know what I'm saying? But still, like, if Edgar Berlanga is your next fight, why we can't get a David Ortiz? And Turki AlalShik, the way he's moving, he's writing them checks, man. He's giving up that oil money, man. He's giving up that oil money. And he's willing to pay. He's willing to pay for these fights. But yet you want to overprice yourself, say you want 200 million. I don't know. But how interested are we in a Virgil Ortiz versus Crawford? They making deals on live TV, man. Like, we got to give this guy Turki AlalShik. I mean, this guy's shaking up the sport. He got Canelo responding to him. He don't like the way he do business. My man put out a tweet like, I don't care if you don't like the way, if you respect me or not, but I came to you with an offer, like, you ducking. Like, he calling it like it is. You know what I'm saying? I like the direction that he's taking. There's no excuse. He didn't want that Benavidez smoke. Absolutely. Nah, not at all, man. He don't want that smoke. It's clear. It's clear. So the people that be in my chat talking, in our comment section, making all these excuses, please explain to me why it's okay to fight Edgar Berlanga but not David Benavidez. Explain to me why it's okay to fight an Amir Khan and not a Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is more of a decorated champion, more of a decorated fighter. Resume is better than Amir Khan's, and he's never lost. And he's at the top of the pound for pound list. Why wouldn't you give him a chance? Oh, because he wants a payday? So does Edgar Berlanga. So did Amir Khan. Amir Khan had no business moving up because his glass was already made out of porcelain, you know what I'm saying, before he got there. So you wanted an easy payday. Fight somebody that's going to give you a challenge. Now, personally, I felt like after watching the Terrence Crawford fight against Madrimov, people are, criticizing Bud Crawford for his performance. And I think that, one, if you're criticizing Bud for his performance, I don't think you know boxing. You're probably a casual. And I think part of it, too, is just from the last performance that we saw. What's up, Dwight? I see you, bro. It's clear that the man doesn't want to lose a fight, so he is fighting all the guys that he can beat, or guys that he think he can beat, right? This is the first time I'm actually rooting for Canelo in a long time. And it's not that I root against him, but I kind of just watch his fights, and whoever wins, because you kind of know who's going to win anyway in most of his fights, right? Like, I knew he was going to beat Jaime Munguia. Peace, sis. Peace, Sister Amanatu. We kind of know who he's like, how the fight is going to turn out in most Canelo fights, right? Most of his opponents is like, yeah, he's either going to knock them out or he's going to win. But this is the first time where I'm actually like rooting for him to beat. Like, again, Berlanga's from Brooklyn, but I don't know something about the kid. He just, you know what I'm saying? he kind of just Berlanga kind of what's the word? He kind of rubs me the wrong way. Pause.
Yo!
I didn't mean to say that. You know what I meant? Like, like Edgar Berlanga. I'm not a fan of his like that. His attitude, the way he conducts himself, is just not. It's not something that I like, man. So I'm kind of wanting Canelo to do some, put a beating on homeboy. But yeah, Che Black.
That's what you feel like he's gonna. You feel like that's what's gonna happen, or is that what you want to happen?
Both. I don't think Edgar Berlanga got a shot. I think I got just as good of a shot and beat Canelo as he does, in my opinion.
And this goes back to Canelo handpicking these type of opponents.
Right.
I believe this opponent was absolutely handpicked. But go ahead, what you was gonna say or ask?
Well, what a point I was making before you got back on was, and people that was criticizing Terrence Crawford last performance against Madrimov. I don't think they understand that Madrimov is a good fighter. I mean, he became a world champion in 11 fights. That doesn't happen often. Fighters don't get in that position to win a world title in 10, 11 fights.
Right.
He has an extensive amateur background. I know this is the professionals, but when you got an extensive amateur background, the potential for you being a good pro is always there. Like you look at Lomachenko, who was another one that had a pretty extensive amateur background, he's a Hall of Famer based off his resume and things he's accomplished and as many little fights. You know what I'm saying? Madrimov was a better fighter than most people probably really understood or thought. And Terrence Crawford said before the fight happened, he was like, "Yo, I feel he's the best in the division right now. It's not going to be an easy fight. He never said it was going to be an easy fight. So I just think that him moving up in weight, fighting probably one of the better fighters in the division, if not the best champion in the division, it didn't look the way it looked against fighting Errol Spence for whatever reason. Not taking that away from Errol Spence, but we know what happened. We saw how that looked. So when we see him not make it look easy like he did against Errol Spence, it's like, oh, he struggled. I don't think he struggled. I think more so Madrimov was just up for the challenge.
Yeah, he just was his chin was a little bit more sturdier than Spence's. That's that simple.
Yo, and here's something that I found out too. And this is where I'm like, okay, I was of the opinion when I saw him fight Madrimov, and I was just kind of like, maybe he needs to grow into the division a little bit, right? Maybe he needs to get a couple fights and let his body become accustomed to fighting at 154. Don't just move up to 168. Yo, do you know how much he weighed the night of the fight, Terrence Crawford? Because in LA they do the you got to strip down your boxes again and weigh in before the fight.
Full strip down.
Yeah, I'm saying you gotta get down. It ain't like you can just step on the scale. You gotta strip down like the way you do at a weigh-in. You gotta get weighed in again the day of the fight. You know how much he weighed the day of the fight after weighing in 154? The day before, the day of the fight, Terrence Crawford was 170 pounds. He was actually bigger than Madrimov.
That's a hell of a hydration right there. That's Torgatti,
He went up to 170. Now here's where I'm like, if you looked at how he moved around at 170 pounds, he was just as fast. He didn't look slower. He still had the same pop on his punches. He was still agile, and he looked like, it don't look like he lost a step in regards to just his attributes at 170 pounds. So before getting that information, now knowing that he was 170 pounds, 70 pounds on the night of the fight, I do feel like he probably could move up and fight Canelo, bro.
I mean, the way he was moving and what you just said, to be moving around with 170 pounds on him, and he's deceivingly strong. He has a wrestling background as well,
right?
And he's rooted in that, and I feel like absolutely, and knowing that he was 170 pounds, moving like that. Yeah.
Listen, man. Canelo.
This is what Errol Spence had went up against and wasn't ready for that. See, Errol Spence was For real, Errol Spence was like, yo, this dude's smaller than me. He done came, he's coming up. He didn't realize, nah, this dude is actually a monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just took him completely wrong. He had no idea what he was up against.
But Bud Crawford is a professional. Bud Crawford lives a fighter's life. You don't see Bud like you go on Instagram or Twitter, you see these guys like Shakur, and don't disrespect Shakur. Shakur is like I said, a hell of a fighter. He's young.
Yeah, but he's immature though.
But right. Which is rightfully so. I think all of us around that age, we probably wasn't the most mature people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that, but you have to have somebody that's, in your corner. You have to have the right people around you.
Now, but Bud, when he did the interview with Sean Porter and them, that man's on the dock fishing. He ain't out in the club. He ain't taking trips to, you know what I'm saying?
He ain't just coming back from getting a fresh tat.
Yeah, your man out on the docks, casting out, you know what I'm saying, a line to go fish. He chilling with his family. He's a professional. So when you see a fighter that he don't drink, he don't smoke, he's not out partying, he's in the gym, and he comes in, makes weight, rehydrates to 170 pounds, and still sharp. That's a dangerous man.
Absolutely.
That man didn't reach to the heights that he reached for no reason. It's because of the lifestyle that he lives, and he's a consummate professional. So I think Canelo, if you're gonna fight anybody, if you're not gonna fight David Benavidez, he had his little shortcomings here, this, that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to hold nothing against him, but we know, he had put that product up in his nose, got his belt stripped from him. You know what I'm saying? He had his little shortcomings, but I'm pretty sure he turned his life around. He's trying to do right now. But Bud ain't never had those type of bumps in the road. You know what I'm saying? Outside of, what happened to him, you know what I'm saying? Like early in his life when, he got shot up or whatever. But outside of that, his personal lifestyle and what he chooses to put in his body and what he chooses to do with his body, bro. Your man is a consummate professional.
No, he's an athlete. He's a professional.
Yeah, he's an athlete. Yeah. He's an athlete. Just won an MVP celebrity hoops game. You know what I'm saying? He got like a nice diamond ring from 50. I don't know if you saw that. 50 gave him crazy.
Yeah, man. MVP ring.
Look.
Well deserved because 50's first fight as a promoter, he was
Gamboa Crawford, right?
He was promoting Gamboa when Crawford dethroned him. But yeah.
Like he needs to give this man a shot. And this is a fight that I think as hardcore fans and casual fans would love to see. But nah, he's gonna fight. If anybody move up in weight, I can see him giving Virgil, not even Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz he'll fight Virgil Ortiz. He won't fight Bud.
But here's the thing. If Canelo doesn't fight Bud, if we don't get that fight, then what? Then where does Bud go?
Well, if Bud doesn't get the Canelo fight Virgil Ortiz. Like clean out 154.
Fight Virgil Ortiz, right? Okay.
Fight the winner of Fundora Spence.
And that's what I was gonna say. Fundora Spence. I would fight Ortiz and then look for the winner of Fundora Spence, and then he might as well ride out to the sunset.
He probably can get. He probably can do both. He probably can fight Virgil Ortiz, take that strap.
That's what I just said.
And
then fight the winner of Fundora Spence.
Because who knows when that fight ain't happening to probably sometime next year. And if Spence beats Fundora, Spence Crawford at 154 for undisputed, that fight is just as huge, if not bigger, than the first fight.
Right.
Now here we go. He says Ortiz. Of course, the Philly guy, he's gonna say Ortiz or Boots. Again, I'm not against the Boots fight. I'm not against the Boots fight
either. I'm not against the Boots fight either.
I honestly don't. Now I may sound like a Canelo fan right now. I don't know. Depends on how you. I don't see the necessity in it at this point.
I don't either. But if you're gonna be fighting Ortiz's, then why aren't you fighting the Boots?
Well, if I don't know if you heard what I said, but I know you had to jump out real quick. Your camera froze. But um, at least Virgil Ortiz be the champion. Boots has not fought anybody on the level, hasn't beaten no champions.
And I agree with that, but I'm looking at it like, yo, this is money, this is a legacy. If he beats Boots, right, Boots still has a comeback. He still has a name. That fight, even in a loss, will still elevate his status. As long as it's not in the first or second round, and even that, it's still a possibility. He can get a big fight because he'll have a name. He'll still have a name. If that name means something.
Well, I don't know what kind of check he'll get in either fight. Right? Let's just say, I mean, again, I do think the more lucrative fight will probably be the Virgil Ortiz fight because of the fan base that's coming with him.
Well, Virgil Ortiz,
like, yeah, economically, the Latinos or the Mexicans or what have you, they drive the sport monetarily. Like, if we being honest, like, they're more of like, I'm going to the fight. They come out to support their fighters, right? So I think he brings a deeper fan base, which will probably drive the thing, better economically. I'm not saying he's a bigger name than Boots. I don't they probably like on the same level, but I just think economically it makes more sense probably to fight Virgil Ortiz. But here's the thing: Virgil Ortiz at least brings a title. It may not be a huge check. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what kind of money Turkey's gonna be offering for that fight, but you get at least you beat Virgil Ortiz. You leave with a piece of the undisputed championship. If Boots move up to 154, maybe you get the same check, maybe a similar check, maybe even a little bit of bigger check. But it ain't like a super payday. You're probably gonna get something similar to what you get for fighting Virgil Ortiz, but you leave with nothing. You just leave with beating Boots. That I don't see how that pushes him forward as far as his legacy or career for what he's trying to achieve. Remember, he's 36. Now, if he wants to be undisputed, go after the belt. That's what I'm saying. If you undisputed is your end game, fight Ortiz. But if it's going to be like, all right, I'm just going to pick one of them, I don't really think it matters from a monetary standpoint that much of a difference. I do think Virgil Ortiz is bringing more to the table just for the Mexican fan base. That's the only thing that separates the two on that level. But Virgil Ortiz has the belt, and that, to me, I think that makes a difference.
I see your argument. I don't think that Boots has a really big fan base at all.
Right.
I mean, as a fight fan, from a fight like an actual, yes. To me, I actually would like to see him fight Boots more than any of these guys, just because of the intrigue, that there is to that fight.
Right.
But being honest, as far as the channels you go through to get to that level, to fight at that fight, and Boots is somebody who definitely looks like he has the goods. However, he has not went through the proper rites of passage, so to speak. And one of that is becoming a world champion. That right there would elevate his status and any type of demand for a fight with him. If he really wants a fight with Crawford, he should have been chasing down the champion and defeating the champion and getting that out the way. And that right there would have at least put him in the upper echelon where his name is now mentioned in a manner of deserving that. It's like, okay, he's in the way now.
Yep.
You understand?
Yep. Nah, I agree. I agree with that, man. But yeah, I don't think there's really much more to talk about this topic. Yo, it was so much I want to discuss. Another fight.
Was it well, I know,
Oh, froze again. I don't know what's going on. My man Chase Black, pragmatic. You know what I'm saying? Needs some better Wi-Fi. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, but nonetheless, yo, first of all, like people that's rocking with me, if you saw the fight last night, the Virgil Ortiz Bohachck fight. For me, I think that was up until this point probably fight of the year. There's been some really good fights. I think Nick Ball versus Ray Ford. That was on the 5v5 Matchroom versus Queensberry card. I don't know if you remember that fight. I think that was up there for fight of the year. That was another real good one. Um, and I think this one is probably a better fight than that one. I think this was fight of the year for me. Like, how y'all feel? I think that was a hell of a fight. A majority of the fight, them guys fighting in the phone booth, like forehead to forehead, throwing shots. We saw Virgil Ortiz get dropped early. Then they didn't call it a knockdown. I think they kind of rescinded that, if I'm not mistaken. And then it was just a lot. It was a tough fight, and I just like the way how Virgil Ortiz in the last 2 rounds in the championship rounds, he kind of, I think in round 10 he started to kind of box a little bit more like he did in the opening round. Use his distance, use his quick jab. I think he hurt Bohachck a few times, and it was an excellent fight, man. I find that Turki AlalShik, just the cards that he's producing and the fights that he's financing. The Zone. I remember when the Zone first started, people were saying a lot of criticism, especially because you had Eddie Hearn and his loud mouth. No disrespect, I actually like Eddie Hearn as a promoter. Um, he was saying that the Zone was going to take over, this, that, and the third. And now look, all the best fights is happening on the Zone. Um, Turki AlalShik got everybody kind of working on, feeling like they have to work together now. Everybody, because he got a deal with Golden Boy, Matchroom, Queensberry Promotions, Top Rank, if I'm not, yeah, Top Rank, and PBC. So it's like we're going to be getting moving forward if this man's plan goes according to plan. There will be no more this guy's on the other side of the street. I can't make this fight because of this one and that one, which is why Turki, like, if you saw I had the clip loaded up, but I actually took it out when he walked into Virgil Ortiz's locker room, and he says to him, he's like, "I'm here because I'm looking to make the fight between you and Crawford. Do you want that fight?" And Virgil Ortiz was like, "Yeah, I would love that fight." He goes directly to the fighters, right? He goes directly to the fighters. Maybe he deals with the management to a certain degree, but he makes sure he speaks to the fighters, which is, he went to Canelo to offer him the fight for Crawford or David Benavidez or what have you. He goes directly to the fighters and he tries to cut the middleman out. It's almost like, if somebody wants to, purchase your car or purchase your home, right? And they got to go to the realtor or to somebody or the broker or who have you, and it's like, well, this is how much we want for the house. They're not talking to you directly, and the person calls you directly and says, "Yo, this is what I'm offering you. I'll give you this right now, straight cash." You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, "Whoa, like, you know what? I think I'll do that." When you ain't got the middleman in between you to kind of, convolute or misconstrue words and things of that nature. Like, you hear it directly from the person who's offering you the bread. Like, he's like, "Listen, man, I'm offering you 100 mil. Fight David Benavidez or fight Crawford." More so than the manager going back and forth between you two saying this and that, and it caused a lot of confusion a lot of times, which is what happened between Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. First, they was, if you listen to the Bud Crawford when he talked to Andre Ward. Andre Ward got an excellent show on the All the Smoke. It's All the Smoke ATS boxing or ATS fight, I think they call it. I guess that Showtime then got put some money behind Andre Ward and All the Smoke podcast to do like a boxing show. But he had an interview with Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford was talking about the process to make the fight between himself and Spence. And basically, they had to cut the middleman out. They had to stop talking to Al Heyman. Like Bud had to stop talking to Al Heyman because Al Heyman clearly wasn't trying to make the fight. Al Heyman was on some like, this is what I'm offering you, take it or leave it type. So by the time Bud and Errol got on the phone, it was just like, look, Bud was pretty much explaining to Errol like, yo, do you know this is what they saying? Like, this is
You
what
hear
I
me?
want. Yeah, I can hear you. Um, you know, they cut the
You hear me?
middleman out. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. He had cut the middleman out. So, oh, you gone. I don't know what's happening here. um, this is what Turkey's doing. It just makes business easier. You know what I'm saying? It makes it easier to do business when you cut the middleman out, and the two parties can just deal with each other and conduct business, and everybody can discuss what they want. You can tell the man directly, the man with the checkbook, what you want and what you need for the fight, and if he can make it happen, he does it. Or you guys negotiate directly as opposed to going through a third party. And I think um this is what's making Turkey AlalShik so successful in what he's doing, because he's going directly to the fighters, and he's making these promoters work with each other, because it's like
He's throwing
the
that bag
networks.
at him.
He throwing a bag like the net. They don't have to wait from a check from a network, and then they got to divvy it up and see how much is left for them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know exactly what they getting, man. So I think the way he's shaking up the sport, shaking up the business, I think it's beautiful, man. It's something I love to see, and I'm glad that something like this is happening now in these days and times in the sport, man, because it just makes the sport overall better, man. Um, so it makes me look forward to some exciting fights. You know what I'm saying? That's coming up.
Hmm. Well, he's coming off like the savior of boxing with the big bag of money. Like this is what it is. He like Santa Claus with a bag of money, and he's coming around, tossing money around. So we'll see how that works. He's already had a bad run-in with Canelo, where him and Canelo had an exchange back and forth over the internet. You know, as and even even Crawford was involved with that. He was even in a back and forth with Canelo, basically over Canelo saying that he would be easy work, but yet wanting all this money to take him on and not, basically talk his way out of the fight, price his way out of the fight. What it's looking like Canelo was trying to do.
Right. Which is again, I'm glad you brought up that part. This is the last thing I'm gonna say to the Mexican people that be coming in my chat. Excuse me, coming in our comment section. And shout out to the Mexicans. I
Yeah,
ain't
shout
trying to
out to
come
all
off
the Mexicans, yo.
I ain't trying to come off disrespectful and act like, you know what I'm saying, we ain't rocking with y'all. What I'm saying is, to the people, to the Canelo fans who was coming in the chat talking crazy, here I got another question for you, because your Canelo goes and says somebody like Terence Crawford, it's easy work. And if you feel that way, if he feels that way, fine. But what about Edgar Berlanga? Is that easy work too? Like, is Edgar Berlanga easy work, Canelo? You know what I mean? How about Jaime Munguia? Is that easy work? Jamel Charlo? Was he easy work too? Or did you think, man, I'm fighting one of the best fighters out there when you fought these guys?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
think so. But Bud Crawford's at the top of the pound for pound list. He's definitely one of the best fighters out there. But he's
I'm
easy
glad
work.
you brought that up because Canelo seems to not acknowledge any of the top guys anywhere near him.
Right. Right.
And, Bevo had a lot to do with that.
Ah. That's what the Turk said, man. Turkey. That's what my man LL Cool Turk said,
Cool
man.
Shake.
LL Cool Shake. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he
Yeah.
said. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Yeah, I know because after that Bivol loss, you don't want no more. You ain't trying to take no more risk, and that might be the case." So listen,
Exactly. Because
man.
he know those losses take away marketability. Now, he'll still be able to get a paycheck and a nice paycheck. However, that it's a bargaining chip when you win. Every time you win, every time you look good, it's a bargaining chip. That loss, that takes away some marketability. And he knows that how easy it was for him to lose the bill stepping into that He know he stepped into some when he stepped into that.
Well,
And
I'm gonna
he's
say
not ready
to
to
all
do
my,
that again.
I'm gonna say to all my Chicanos, go talk to your king.
Yeah, talk
And
to
you,
your homie. Talk to your SA,
yeah,
man.
go talk to him and ask him. Well, is Berlanga? Is that a tough night? He might be. I'm not. Anything can happen. You know how boxing the drama of the unknown, as they say. We don't know what's gonna happen when he step in that ring. There's always like we have these based off past fights or just what we believe or think about one fight or another. We kind of have an idea what we believe is going to happen, but sometimes we're surprised. I don't think that's going to happen this fight. I'm just saying sometimes we're surprised by
When a
somebody's
fight,
performance on that night. So
indeed, when a fighter like Canelo, for me, when a fighter like Canelo is moving around with the antics that he's moving around with, I look for a Berlanga to knock him out. I look for the upset to happen just so we could get him out the way. Just so you understand, just so that can happen. Because it's like you're gonna be in the way. And we don't need you in the way. So if you're not gonna get out of the way or be on the way to doing the right thing, then somebody else should just knock you out the way. And I love it when that type of thing happens. And fighters like him, that's the type of that's the type of upset that they deserve.
well, let me just remind the supporters and the viewers to please go ahead and jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, throw a combination at the notification bell and drop a comment in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Parry 101 and on TikTok at the.parry.101. You know what it is. We're running out of time. Shay Black, any parting words, brother?
You know,
Only thing you want to discuss before we go?
no, nothing I need to discuss at this point because we kind of ran out of time. But however, I'd like to congratulate Claressa Shields on her accomplishments. New female heavyweight champion. She's definitely has fought her way into the argument of being the absolute greatest female boxer to ever put on a pair of boxing gloves based off of accomplishments. We can argue back and forth who could have possibly defeated her, but based on what she's actually accomplished in the ring, I have to myself concede to the fact that there is nobody else who is able to who has better accolades inside the ring than she does. So congratulations to Claressa Shields on her spectacular and devastating victory. And I definitely look forward to seeing, where you go next, because you have the type of career that right now the sky's the limit for her right now. So I just wanted to say that.
Let me add on to that. First of all, we're gonna call her by her proper name, the Goat.
The Goat.
All right, the
Goat.
Goat. I don't think it's up for any debate or question that she's the greatest woman fighter or boxer, right?
Right.
Of all time.
Right.
I don't think it's up. I don't even think it's up for debate. I don't think it's even close. And here's why. Outside of the accolades, right, the accomplishments, the undisputed championships in multiple divisions, moving all the way up to become the heavyweight champion. And at the same time, like fighters like herself, Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, and, the DAZN, and like you got all these sisters that have grown the sport to where it's at. This is probably the most popular women's boxing has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say, not only is she the most decorated female fighter ever, as far as accomplishments, but she did it in the era where there are more and better skilled female fighters.
There's actual competition. There's actual. Right. She can't do what Layla did. Let's just call it what it is. She can't pull a Layla. Run up a 11-0 record or something like that.
Right.
And then retire, claiming that she's just this greatness. Now she can't pull one of them off.
You got sisters like Alicia Baumgartner. Like these sisters can fight. These sisters can fight. Like I'm not lacing them up in there with them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
I probably would have beat Christy Martin's behind, but I ain't getting in there with.
Yeah, I'd have choke slammed Christy Martin. I mean, it wouldn't even been I mean,
Yo,
I would have took. I'd have clotheslined it though. She'd have got a clothesline though. Get up out of here with that.
yo, I would have
Big
1-2
arm or
pieced her, man. And I would have 1-2 pieced her and put it down, man. But I'm not getting in there with Clarissa. I'm not getting in there with Alicia. I'm not getting in there with Amanda Serrano. These girls get scrapped. Shout out to Amanda Serrano too. I don't think she get enough props for what she has accomplished in her career. Not the, I believe, a 9 or 10 division world champion. Like,
Right.
and she about to have arguably probably the biggest fight in women's boxing history again with Katie Taylor. That rematch, I believe that's happening if I'm not mistaken. No, Katie Taylor's about to fight the girl that she lost to again. I think that fight was supposed to happen, but I would love. That's probably the best female fight I've ever seen. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano for Undisputed. That was in the Garden. I was trying to buy tickets to that last minute. I kind of reneged on it, and now I wish I would have went. Like, it was, listen. But anyway, shout out to the group, heavyweight champ of the world, and I'm gonna say this respectfully: you put that weight on correctly, like, you know what I mean?
That weight look righteous.
Yeah, that weight look righteous on you, sis. You ain't even.
It
You know
look
what I mean?
righteous on you, yo.
Yeah.
You and your man ever break up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just remember how righteous I said it looked. You know what I mean?
He said, remember how righteous I said it look. You know what I'm saying? Like,
word is mine, yo, like for real. But shout out to your accomplishments in the ring no more than anything else. Even though you definitely came out there stunning at the weigh-in. You know, you ain't had to do all of that. You was being extra. You was showing off. You was absolutely showing off that I'm really a heavyweight. And I seen it. I said, oh yeah, she's really a heavyweight.
Yo, sis, if Che Black run into your man, this is what he gonna tell
This is the conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever.
Don't put me in no beef with nobody, man. Yeah, man. I ain't backing down for nothing, but don't put me in no beef with nobody.
He gonna walk up on your
Links to the conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever.
I'm just admiring what was shown to me. You know what I mean? Like, she knew what she was doing when she showed them off. She wanted to, she couldn't have not wanted compliments on that if she wasn't showing it. But you going, like, you a heavyweight. You don't even got to do all of that. You want to be honest with you because it's limitless. You ain't got to shoot down like that.
I'm gonna say this.
She wanted us to know that it was heavyweight cheeks, though. You feel me?
Listen, man, this is where I will say this is the unfortunate. I don't say unfortunate. Nah, I don't want to say it like that. This is where the sport is at. Like, this is where the sport, like, you know, they got a market. You know what I'm saying? And it's, you know.
Come on, man. They still girls. Shout out to Alicia. Y'all still, you know what I mean?
Alicia, the bomb Ghana. Yeah.
Yeah, the bomb. Shout out to the bomb. The bomb.
Word up.
The bomb.
Shout out to her, man. I ain't listen, man.
Yeah, shout out to the bomb. Shout out to all the boxers out there. But you know, this ain't the Jackie, the Jackie Clyde Live. What's her name? Frazier Live. You know what I mean? This ain't the Frazier Live ever no more. You know?
Who's Big Grills? He has what's cooking. I don't know where it is, but yo, shout out to you, bro. What's cooking? I don't know. We almost done cooking. You feel me?
Man, I'm out here cooking. The sun. You see the typical technical difficulties that I overheated. I said, yo, it's too hot. But go ahead, though.
But say, cool, this is where the world is at. It's an OnlyFans world we live in, man. If you want
No, it is. It is. Yeah. And even the boxers, because what you think a lot of, I don't want to sound like I love all of them. I love them for the sake of the sport.
I'm just saying, man, WNBA could probably take some notes, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Asia Wilson.
Nah, they don't want to take notes.
I'm just saying, like, you know,
I don't know if I even want them to take notes. I don't even know if I want them to take notes.
Angel Reese, you know what I'm saying? Asia Wilson. Like, it's some of them sisters, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying.
We got the better sisters. The female boxers.
There was a point I would agree with you, man, but
sad to say, man.
The only thing
is that even Layla was, you know, she was a big girl, but even Layla.
Nah, Layla was hot. Nah, you right, Baba. You right. Baba say cool, you right. But let's not act like they're not in boxing either. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna repeat what he said. You know what I mean? If you were to chat, you know what he said. I ain't gonna say that. But let's not act like they're not in boxing either. And at this point, look, man, it don't matter to me because I'm just looking.
Nah, you know they not acting like it though. At least we can't tell. You know what I mean?
Nah.
A lot of them, they boyfriends or husbands is they trainer, coach or whatever. Man,
Nah, that's true. That's
a lot
true.
of them
Yeah.
got boyfriends that's out there with the mitts. A lot of
Wolf
their boyfriends is holding the mitts for them.
and Wolf though.
I'm saying though, man. And Wolf is a nigga. And Wolf is a nigga. Yeah, I mean, come on now, man. And Wolf different, yo. Her last name Wolf, man. Come on, man. You know what I mean? And Wolf is a nigga. You know what I mean? Shout out to Aaron Wolf. I still love you, Aaron Wolf. I don't want no sauce for Aaron Wolf either. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you, man.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, man. I
don't
don't
want
want
that
no
smoke.
type of sauce with Aaron.
I don't want none of that.
man.
I'm good.
Nathan.
Oh man. Yeah.
Shout
Anyway,
out to
man.
Aaron, who real quick when you mentioned the accolades, and then you was like outside of the accolades, the argument that Aaron Wolf could have beat. Nah, I don't want to even do that because it's still her moment. I don't want to take a moment from
Yo.
my homegirl. But that's the argument. And I'm gonna go ahead argument though.
And I'm a yeah. Baba say go crazy. Yo, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. And I'm gonna say this with confidence. I'm looking in the camera. There's nobody past or presently right now in the sport of women boxing that is beating Claressa Shields.
That could beat Claressa Shields.
Not even Ann Wolf. No. When I say she's the greatest to ever do it as far as women boxing is concerned, I mean that, bro. There's
I don't want to have this debate right now. This is for I just said I don't want to have
this debate. She's at the top of the food chain.
Okay, but that's if you can't, that's debatable, man.
No, it is. It is.
That's all I said.
Saying.
I didn't want to get into that. I didn't want to get into nothing else because I still wanted to keep it with, like I said, I shouldn't even said nothing because this is Claressa moment.
But this
Claressa,
is why I brought it back.
Congratulations.
This is why I said what I said. She is the greatest. She's the GOAT. There's nobody touching her.
She the GOAT. She the GOAT. Acknowledgement. You know what I mean? And them that outfit she had on when she came out to the weigh-in, that was the GOAT. You know what I mean? That outfit was them trunks was the GOAT.
You said them trunks was the GOAT.
Yeah. She be rapping. She got a video out.
Yeah, she was rapping, right?
Yeah. Take a picture, Nick. Something, ho. Yeah.
Baba Seiko said it will be a more competitive than the last fight. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with
competitive than what? Than
her championship fight against I forgot the sister's name. She doing, she put it down quick too. And everybody was talking about she ain't got no power. She said, "I'm gonna sit on my punches. I'm about to show y'all." She went up there.
She wrecked her. She wrecked her.
Yeah.
She wrecked her shit. Yeah, she wrecked her.
Yo, Claressa, come on over here. We love you. You know what I'm saying?
We do love you.
Don't
get it twisted. We do love you.
Come on over here to the Parry where we love you.
Yeah, man. Might send you some edible arrangements. You know what I'm saying?
Come on over here. We're gonna give you your proper respect, and we're gonna tell you we love you. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Claressa. Come rock with the Parry. Come rock with the real, man. You are the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Word up. And you'll beat Che Black's ass too.
I don't know. See, he don't really want you on the show talking like that. Yeah, man. And I'm supposed to just sit there like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? He don't really want you on the show talking like that. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm just saying, like, it's a reason why it's men and women sports. Like they say divisions, it's a reason why it's men and women sports.
Nah, shout out to the GOAT, man. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. Shout out Baba Sekou. I see you in the chat. Shout out Beer Grills. Shout out, who else we had here? My man Dwight Grills. Beer Grills. Beer. I'm New York. We say beer.
Beer.
Yeah, beer. I say, I'm from New York, man. It's bear. It's bear to me. Like a bear. People think I'm saying bear. Bear, man.
No, I was saying Bear Grylls like bear, like bear, because Bear Grylls was the dude jumping inside of camels and whatnot, and all type of like slicing camels open, cutting, jumping all inside their rib cage and shit.
Nah, I don't know. His name is Bear Grylls. Shout out to Sister Amanatu, my man Dwight Barif. I see you in here, and everybody else that tuned in, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all, man. Definitely appreciate y'all. for tuning with us and rocking with the Parry. Shay Black, what you got to say before we get up out of here?
Man, you know, catch y'all on the next one. It's the Parry. We don't pull a duck, no punches, punk.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I heard what
saying?
he said, man. Well, I am your host, Bomani UFG.
And I
that's the
am the
Prag.
pragmatics. Jay Black. Man, I was coming with it.
And remember,
The
this
sun
is
is
the
hot.
Parry. Yeah, I feel you. And remember, this is the Parry where we don't pull a duck, no punches. And the Parry is fundamental to boxing. We know what it is. Till next time, we out. Peace.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.